Hello and welcome. You're watching us here on Halftime Report. Good afternoon. This morning, had you seen the markets, you would have wondered that, it may be a sideways sort of day. Turns out that it will be a day which will belong to the bulls, especially with regards to the recovery that we've seen from the lows. Almost a century on the Nifty. I'm Mangalam Malu, and joining me after a holiday is Ekta Vatra. Ekta, I guess the markets are welcoming you with a 100-point salute.
Yes, absolutely. And maybe, people are just sleeping off after staying up for the match as well. But nonetheless, we do have some news coming in on Alembic Pharma. So let's just tackle that before we get to the markets. It is their Jarod facility, which in fact has been inspected by the US drug regulator. They've been issued 5 observations, and they have said that none of these 5 observations are data integrity related and they are procedural in nature. But nonetheless, Alembic is reacting to that piece of news and is currently lower by around close to 2% Overall, for the markets, it is definitely shrugging off any kind of global recession concerns at this point in time. It's probably lower crude prices, which is aiding sentiment. The Nifty IT index continues to be in focus on the back of Accenture, which we'll get to in just a bit. Separately, a lot of other stocks in focus: UTI, AMC, Yes Bank, Sun Pharma, Shilpa Medicare, just to name a few, which we will be covering over the next 60-odd minutes. But let's start the show with Accenture. Accenture's revenue growth has in fact beaten guidance. The company maintains growth projections despite what was a strong first quarter. Reema is here with more details on the Indian IT sector and the read-through.
Thanks so much for that. So Accenture's stock price itself was down 6% post numbers. On Thursday and Friday combined, the Accenture share price had declined by close to about 10%. A quick word on the numbers. Q1 revenue strong, revenue growth of 15% ahead of the company's own guidance. But despite a strong Q1, the company maintained its full year revenue guidance of 8 to 11%, which basically means that things will slow down in the second half of the year, because in Q1, they've done close to about a 15% growth. The management commentary also indicates that the clients are now turning caution. So they are saying that the focus of deal wins, the new deal wins, is more towards cost optimization. They've seen some slowdown in the smaller size deals. Morgan Stanley says that they see limited triggers for re-rating of the Indian IT companies in the near term. Citi says the management comments on IT budgets in the Q3 earnings call will be a key point of focus. They're cautious on the entire sector. Infosys is the only buy stock in the entire IT pack for them. Nifty IT continues to remain under pressure. It's down nearly 5.5–6% so far in December, and for the year so far, it's lost 26%. Back to you.
All right, take that point. Thanks a lot for that. Let's talk about the pharmaceutical stocks then. A bunch of them in focus. Halol facility in Gujarat has received a warning letter from the US FDA for one of the companies. Ekta, which one is this and what are we tracking?
Well, we're tracking Sun Pharma. It's recovered from the day's lows simply because this particular piece of news has been known, and we have been covering it since, maybe the month of August, when they received that official action indicated status for the particular facility. Now, I just want to retrack, and give you a background in terms of the Halol facility. We had covered this on the 8th of December as well, when they had said that, yes, they have received an import alert for this particular plant. Remember, this particular plant has always had some issues. The company has now told the exchanges that they've received a warning letter for this particular facility. It will become public in due time when they do, issue it on the US FDA website. So this will come with a lag. What the Sun Pharma management has done is that they've apprised investors that, yes, we have received a warning letter, which is basically a normal course of business. It was expected to receive it because they've already got an import alert. Just want to put it into, perspective that they had been inspected earlier in the year, which then eventually got escalated to an import alert. Now, this particular plant has always had issues. They were issued a warning letter in 2015. It was cleared in 2018, re-inspected in December 2019, issued 8 observations at that point in time, was issued an official action indicated status in March 2020, which makes things, quite precarious for the facility in any case, and was re-inspected earlier this year from April to May 2022, issued 10 observations at that point in time, continue to be classified as an OAI status in August of 2022, and eventually escalated to an import alert in December 2022. Now, what does this mean? That the import alert means that they cannot ship from this facility until all of the issues are resolved, unless there's prior approval from the US drug regulator. The US FDA has excluded 14 products, so the impact financially will be lesser. But the larger scale idea here, which investors are probably worried about, is that, there could be more issues. Is it a system-wide problem that Sun Pharma could face? And that could be something that the street would watch quite closely. Remember, the Mohali facility has been classified as OAI as well in November. It was inspected in August. So I think the street is a bit worried about the larger issue as opposed to just the import alert.
All right, we take that point. Sun Pharma currently lower by about 0.25%, but just keep an eye on the mid-cap index. At an index level, it is underperforming right now, but the advanced decline lines have been further apart now, and they're at the widest point that we've seen from the morning itself. We have 1,800 stocks advancing for about 1,000 declining. So almost 2 stocks in the green for 1 in the red. So even at an index level, if it is largely flattish, mildly in the green, the broader market health is actually much better today. And we do have some big movers. We have the likes of specialty restaurants. Of course, we'll talk about that in just a bit. UTI AMC on reports that there may be some corporate action out there is up by around 12.5%. Volumes picking up on that one. GIC, now that stock has rallied over 31% this year. 24% of that has come in December itself. And on Friday, our colleague Surabhi did put out a piece saying that, this stock has been used to seeing these sporadic rallies in short periods of time, only to take a long period of diffusion out there. The reasons for the rally, of course, are the low float. Only 5% of the company's float is available to the public. The rest is with governments or institutions. And the other one that I'm looking at is Godfrey Phillips as well. From the start of this year to, say, October, thereabouts, Godfrey Phillips was actually absolutely flat and underperforming as compared to its other peer, ITC, the larger player out there. Come October, the stock took off and currently has crossed the 2,000 rupee mark on the share price as well. It's a record high on that. A bit of an unusual mover, so to say, because a lot of people were, worried about what happens to these kind of businesses during the ESG time. And now as we speak, for this year, Godfrey Phillips is up 78%, outperformed ITC. ITC alone is up around 55%. So those are a bunch of stocks which we were just spotting out. But before that, Ekta, let's go back to Shilpa Medicare. That's the other stock you're tracking.
Yes, Shilpa Medicare is buzzing today because they have launched a drug which is used to treat, breast cancer as well as colorectal cancer in India. Now, this is important because they've launched a 1,000 mg dispersible tablet in the country. The company says that they have come with a novel technology, which means that this particular drug can disperse in water within 90 seconds. Now, remember that why exactly is this 1,000 mg drug important? Why is this particular dispersible drug important? Is that the recommended doses for this particular drug is 3,500 mg and 4,500 mg per day, which is divided into 2 days for 2 weeks. So the doses available in the market, which is basically 2 doses for 2 weeks per day, doses available in the market are currently 500 mg and 150 mg. So based on that, you have to take multiple doses of this particular drug, in order to complete the dosage. What this drug then does is that you can basically use or maybe take 2 or 3 tablets as per your requirement, because the drug dosage itself is 1,000 mg. You don't have to swallow it. You can just drink it in a glass of water. And hence, Shilpa Medicare has said that this would probably see faster traction in the market. Let's see whether that comes through or not. They are trying to build their presence in the oncology space. This might be a step towards that. They are looking to probably get approval in other markets. They've got it in India. Let's see whether they manage to get approvals in other markets and what might the procedure be for that. For now, stock is up 3% because this is definitely, if it does work out, a relief for patients as well.
All right, it indeed will be a relief for patients, etc. Let's see whether the benefits of that percolate down to the shareholders as well. We take a short break, come back, talk about more markets and individual stocks.
पुत्रवीर कमाल दिखा अपना। कभी टेबल बन जाता है तो कभी अलमारी।
वीर MDF आम प्लाईवुड से ज्यादा मजबूत, ज्यादा किफायती, दिखे चकाचक, टिके टकाटक। Overburdened by your utility bills? Relax. Pay all your utility bills with Canara Bank AI1, the banking super app. Download today, क्योंकि आपके सपने हमारे अपने।
क्या हुआ चैंपियन?
दिन रात प्रैक्टिस करनी पड़ती है। यहाँ तो रात को स्टेडियम ही बंद हो जाता है।
एक काम करो ना, चेन छोड़ छोड़ के लगाना।
पापा?
अब करो दिन रात प्रैक्टिस। चैंपियन।
एक्स्ट्रा सेफ पॉलीकैप ग्रीन वायर आपके सपनों को रखे सेफ।
Why did life test me? Why did it try to crush me, shake me, break me? Why me? Because it knew if I could take this test, I could take anything and say, that was easy.
देश का हर अरमान पूरा करे एक नाम, श्री राम, श्री राम। लाना, ले जाना, बेचना, खरीदना, कमाना, बचाना, सलाह पाना। गोरखपुर, जोधपुर, तिरुपुर, एग्मूर, गोवा, पटना, दिल्ली, हावड़ा। श्री राम के साथ आगे बढ़ना। श्री राम फाइनेंस लिमिटेड, आपकी प्रगति का साथी।
Welcome back. Well, it is quiet but steady for the markets at this point. We have the Bank Nifty, which is up around 0.3%. We have the mid-cap index, which is up around 0.2%. It might be the end of the year, but the pharma stocks just don't stop delivering in terms of news. We have Dr. Reddy's, which has completed a phase 1 study of DRL-TC. They have said that they have successfully met its primary as well as secondary endpoints in the phase 1 study. Remember that this is the first phase of, or maybe the second phase of a huge trial which takes place in order to assess whether a drug would be successful or can be launched in the market or not. This is definitely positive that it's met the primary as well as the secondary endpoints in the phase 1 study. But after this, they would have to go through phase 2, phase 3 clinical trials, and hence this would be positive. But they do have a long road ahead. It definitely would be testament to the fact that maybe India is gaining in terms of R&D prowess as well. So that's positive news coming in on Dr. Reddy's. Stock is up around 2%. But let's shift focus then. Phoenix Mills is gaining in trade. This is as it's announced an acquisition of 7 acres of a land parcel in Surat for over 500 crores. Sonal is here with the details on this. Sonal.
That's right, Phoenix Mills is in focus because the company has gone ahead and acquired a land in the city of Surat, which measures around 7.22 acres, and the total consideration for this is 510 crore rupees. Land is acquired via Thought Mall and Commercial Real Estate, which is an indirect subsidiary of the company, and this is the subsidiary which will go ahead and develop the retail asset. It will be a leasable area of 1 million square feet, and the retail development will complete by FY27. So it will give an expectation of the kind of cash flows that can start coming in the books of the company from FY27. Kotak Institutional Equity says that Surat helps further expand the geographical presence of Phoenix Mills. The acquisition of Surat land parcel lends further visibility for growth of the company. And this asset is the second asset that they are creating in the state of Gujarat. The first one was Phoenix Palladium in Ahmedabad, which is likely to be commissioned very soon. They have a ad rating on the stock with a target price of 1,640 rupees per share.
Okay, all right, Sonal, thanks very much for that. That's on Phoenix Mills. Stock is up around 2%. Specialty restaurants is the other one which is buzzing in trade. This is after the company said that they will be meeting later on this week to consider fundraising. Tell us more, Mangalam.
Well, it's interesting that the company is raising funds because, you know, up until now, it has been a largely debt-free company, and the expansions have all been through internal accruals or the early investors that came in the company. Now, if they're raising funds, the question is, what they're raising it for? Is it a strategic partnership that they're looking at? Is it a financial partnership? And what those funds would be deployed into. The board will meet on December 21st. So, you know, we will know the answer to that very shortly. The fundraise is via issue of equity shares or any other eligible convertible securities. The stock has been a star of this year, no doubts about that. 157%, closer to its record high. In fact, it has been wobbly over the last many years, but now it seems to have seen a bit of a structural up move itself. And that's backed by improvement in their financials as well. FY 19, 20, the years before that, the revenues were meandering around that 300, 350 odd crores marks. And then you had those dips, and that was primarily on account of COVID. And the first half of this year itself, the company has done about 184 crores in terms of revenue. If they double that, then of course this would be one of the record years for the company. But importantly, it is the profitability of the company that has surprised the street positively. Over the last many years, the company had been loss-making. FY22 was when it first turned profit, the second half of that year, that is. And the first half of this year itself, the company has gone ahead and done 26 crores of profit. And that's nearly 4 times that the company had done in, FY22 itself. So that is a big driver for the company. What's the turnaround driver? Revenue from cloud kitchens, delivery. They have made some changes to the business models. Efficiency gains coming in through cost rationalizations during the pandemic. They have sustained now. And store rationalization. In fact, the company, held back on unnecessary expansion of stores, cut down on stores which weren't working, and with high ROCE businesses like cloud kitchens and delivery, etc., they've only gained more revenue, cut costs, and all of that has resulted in better performance, financial performance, and as a result of which the stock is up. The big question, however, are they looking for a financial investor or a strategic investor? What do they do with that money?
Okay, well, we'll find out more once they do approve that fundraising on the 21st of December, and more details on that. Thanks, Mangalam, for that. Well, let's move on then. Reports suggest that the Tata Group is looking to pick up stake in UTI AMC with only final agreements pending regarding the valuation. Surbi is here with more details on this.
Hi, thanks for that. So UTI AMC has been surging in trade today, and that is because the report suggests that Tata Group is in final talks to buy a majority stake in UTI AMC from 4 state-owned financial entities. PNB, LIC, SBI and Bank of Baroda together own close to 45% stake in the company. The reports also suggest that the final agreement is being sought on deal valuation and internal approvals have been secured. Tata has also received in-principle nod from T. Rowe Price Group, which owns close to 23% stake in the company. If this deal goes through, the combined firm will be the 4th largest AMC in India. These reports have not been independently verified by CNBC-TV18.
All right, we take that point, Surbi. Thanks a lot for that. JSW Infra is the other stock which is in focus. It counts itself to be among the top 5 port companies in the country. It's filed its draft red herring prospectus, so looking for an IPO again. Yash joins in with the details of that one. Yash.
Well, Mangalam, as you correctly pointed out, it's a significant player in the port sector in the country. What we've been given to understand from our sources is JSW Infra has appointed JM Financial as the lead banker for its IPO. It's in the process of appointing more bankers as far as the IPO is concerned. What sources tell us importantly about the timeline is that JSW Infra is likely to file the IPO DRHP with SEBI by January or February of 2023, and then eventually look at launching its IPO by May 2023. It's a significant fundraising which the company looks to do through this particular IPO. So the amount that the company looks to raise is about 3,000 crore. That is expected to entail an equity issuance of about 10%, valuing the company nearly at about 30,000 crore rupees. It's a complete fresh issue, which means the entire amount raised through this IPO, that is about 3,000 crore, comes into the company for expansion. We've written to JSW Infra on this particular development. We're still waiting for a response from the company.
Okay, all right, Yash, thanks very much for that. So that's JSW Infra. We could probably see an IPO there. Time for a break now. Ajay Thakkar will join in next to tell us what he's strategizing today. Stay tuned.
Imagineering brighter futures with smarter steels. ArcelorMittal, Nippon Steel India. Smarter steels, brighter futures.
Indiabulls Housing Finance Limited announces a public issue of secured redeemable NCDs, offering coupon rate of up to 9.80% per annum and additional incentive of 0.25% per annum. Tranche 4 issue is open for subscription. To subscribe, log on to indiabullshomeloans.com. For risk factors and more details, refer to the Tranche 4 prospectus available on the websites of SEBI, Stock Exchange, company and the lead managers.
Invest once and enjoy guaranteed maturity with life cover with LIC's Dhan Varsha, a single premium plan for your family's security and prosperity.
आग को फैलने से रोकना मुश्किल है पर नामुमकिन नहीं। अब फायरवॉल टेक्नोलॉजी के साथ सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम आग से बचाए।
फूल वाला, केटरिंग वाला, बैंड वाला, ये लो भाई।
बैंड बजेगी पापा, अगर गड़बड़ हुई तो गए पैसे।
अरे नहीं रे, बैंक संभाल लेगा।
कैसे?
मैंने पॉजिटिव पे सिस्टम पे रजिस्टर किया है। बैंक को चेक्स और बेनिफिशियरीज की जानकारी दे दी है। बैंक चेक करेगा, जांच करेगा। डिटेल्स मैच नहीं तो क्लियरेंस नहीं।
अच्छा, लाइए मुझे दीजिए। फोटो वाला, लाइट वाला, मंडप वाला।
आरबीआई कहता है
जानकार बनिए, सतर्क रहिए।
बिल्कुल सही कह रहे हैं।
Welcome back. Let's look at the markets. We are seeing a 100-point up move on the Nifty. It's a strong recovery that we've seen from the lows. The question is where we go from here. So let's talk about the way the F&O setup is right now. The indices have bounced off their lows. The mid-cap index, which was an underperformer too, has now moved more or less in step with the Nifty Bank. And the Nifty Bank, it's an important one in terms of an up move. That's primarily because the previous close was right at the 20-day moving average, and that was expected to be a bit of a support. It could have gone either way. So the Nifty Bank from the 20-day moving average of 43,224 has now rallied and is sitting higher with a gain of almost 150 odd points. On the Nifty itself, the fact that it's conquered that and sustained above that 18,300 mark is important, and that's given a lot of ammunition to the 18,000 put writers. So 18,300 put writers have been extremely active. Almost 71 lakh shares have been written on that strike with a 50 rupee strike price. So that's telling you 18,250 to 18,300 would be a strong support that the bulls would be seeking. And on the way up, however, bells haven't yet given up their flight on the 18,300 call for a premium of almost 156 odd rupees. So 50 rupees of the 18,300 put and the 150 rupees of 18,300 call would give a writer 200 rupees, and they would be playing for the range of 18,100 at the lower level and 18,500 at the upper level. Why are these numbers extremely important? Because at 18,100, closer to that is the 50-day moving average on the Nifty, a strong support. And on the way up, a little above that 18,500 mark is the 20-day moving average, which may be a bit of a resistance. We're bang in the middle of that zone, and that's giving a lot of these option writers some courage to go ahead and write those straddles for December 22nd. I mean, does that tie up with the technicals of the market? We do have Jay Thakkar with us to decode that as well. Jay.
Hi, very good afternoon to you, Mangalam, and very well, summarized by you as well as far as the derivatives data was concerned. And 18,300 definitely on Nifty is really now acting as a very crucial support, and it's really showing that till those levels are held, the probability of Nifty bouncing back until the levels of 18,430 initially, and thereafter 18,500, 550 zone is quite high. So I believe that from a short-term point of view, I mean, one can either buy at current levels, or maybe if at all there is a dip around the levels of 18,350 on the spot, one can add there and buying there and buying right now and further adding on dips, targeting 18,430 on the immediate basis, and thereafter 500 to 530, 550, till the weekly expiry point of view. As of now, I would say, Mangalam, that this bounce should be treated as a bounce back only, or a retracement of the current fall which we have seen, because there are no positional or medium-term reversal as such, wherein we can say that Nifty seems to have formed a short-term bottom and thereafter is again moving towards its lifetime highs. That would happen once it confirms the breakout above the levels of 18,700, or once the momentum indicators basically reverse from sell to buy, which has not happened. So it's just that the bounce back or a short covering rally which we are seeing right now, which can stretch further till 18,430 to 500, 550 range on Nifty. Fit Nifty expiry is there tomorrow, and that has bounced back quite well. So financials are really doing good and helping out Nifty to bounce back along with auto. So on Fin Nifty, we can see 19,350 odd levels till the tomorrow's expiry, and so can Bank Nifty can bounce back till 43,500. This is my take on the indices, and I have one buy and one sell recommendations, Mangalam. So on the buy side, I have a buy on Eicher Motors. I mean, autos are really performing well, and Eicher seems to have completed a 5-wave declining structure, and a minimum retracement until 3,500 to 3,570 cannot be ruled out. So these are my two short-term targets, 3,500 and 3,570. These are the spot levels I'm talking about. And on the lower side, one can place a stop loss below the levels of 32.30. So the risk reward is also well in favor of the bulls out here. On the short side, I have a sell recommendation on Tata Power. Tata Power has clearly formed a rounding bottom pattern, I would say, and the stock seems to have even a very good sell crossover in its momentum indicators also in the short term. So one can sell Tata Power at the current market price, Mangalam, targeting around 5% on the downside, and one can place a stop loss on the upside at around 2%. So Tata Power is definitely a sell according to me. The overall momentum is absolutely bearish. And on the upside, at around the levels of 221, one can place a stop loss targeting around say 205 on the minimum side, and 200 as well following that. So sell is on Tata Motors, buy is on Eicher Motors.
Okay, just quickly wanted your thoughts, Jay, on two stocks which are buzzing, specialty restaurants as well as UTI AMC. Which one do you think would have technical supports from here on?
I think that UTI AMC definitely has a very good support at the current market, because it has in fact given a breakout, I would say, and that is one stock which has a clear-cut downtrend line resistance breakout along with increasing volumes. So I think yes, this stock is likely to head towards the levels of around 1,050, 1,100, because the stock seems to have given a breakout from a cup and handle pattern. Although the correction or the consolidation which we have seen was a bit deeper, but then overall momentum has reversed out here, not only on the daily charts but on the weekly charts as well. So it's likely to inch towards 1,050, 1,100 positionally.
All right, take that point, Jay. Thank you so much for joining in and giving us those views. We'll take a short break, come back, and keep discussing the markets actually, because that is what is making news this afternoon.
यूं ही नहीं मैं बन जाता हूं। कुदरत के कोने कोने से खूबियां खोज लाता हूं। गुणवत्ता की गहराइयों का गोताखोर हूं मैं। कुशलता की कार्यशाला में तराशा जाने वाला हीरा हूं मैं। यूं ही नहीं मैं रजनीगंधा बन जाता हूं।
आज तबीयत ठीक नहीं लग रही, तुम ही सब काम निपटा दो ना। अरे टेंशन किस बात की? सेंचुरी MDF का लो एमिशन प्रीमियम प्लस है ना, हायर डेंसिटी है, वाटर रेजिस्टेंट भी है, यानी ये है जहां नो टेंशन वहां।
लो एमिशन प्रीमियम प्लस बाय सेंचुरी प्रोवुड।
Life will test you. It will turn your world upside down. Again. And again. And again. The only way to hit back is to stand up. Stand up every time. And say, I'm not done.
कंस्ट्रक्शन बहुत तगड़ा है। क्या भाई साहब, जो साइट विजिट ना दिखाए 99 एकर्स बताए। घर लेना हो या बेचना, एक्सपर्ट से ही पूछना। 99acres.com।
चाहे खरीदना हो अपना घर या हो रिटायरमेंट के लिए फाइनेंशियल प्लानिंग, मुझे फ्यूचर की कोई चिंता नहीं, क्योंकि मेरे पीछे एसएमसी है।
एसएमसी, मनी वाइज, बी वाइज।
Investment in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.
Welcome back. Well, for the markets, it's extremely quiet at this point in time. It seems as though the markets are just, there are, lesser cues as we are closing in towards the end of the year. It is holiday week as well, especially because it is Christmas. And hence, there is a lesser amount of activity which is taking place in terms of cues as well as triggers for the markets. But nonetheless, just talking about a couple of stocks, a couple of stocks which stand out are the entire banking lot from the broader markets. A couple of these have in fact gained quite considerably on a year-to-date basis. Case in point would be something like an IOB, which is up over 60% on a year-to-date basis, is just about consolidating today. Canara Bank, which is up around 1.3%, again, from the entire PSU banking space, has gained over 50%, 55% on a year-to-date basis, is seeing some amount of consolidation as well. And a couple of others include something like an RBL Bank from the private banking space, Federal. All of these stocks are just about consolidating today, but have been massive gainers on a year-to-date basis. So just watch out for any kind of trend, any kind of movement as we close the year for a couple of these movers who have gained significantly already. The other one which stands out, and if you're talking about PSBs, is BHEL, which has gained quite considerably, over 30% in terms of gains on a year-to-date basis. In fact, 40% on a year-to-date basis, is just about seeing a little bit of traction today at around 82 rupees. That stock is up around 2% at this point. So that's what's happening in terms of at least specific stocks. Let's get in some market perspective. Earlier today, we did speak to Ajay Srivastava, Chief Executive Officer at Dimensions Corporate Finance Services, to discuss the best stocks to invest in, Indian IT stocks, and the do's and don'ts of how to get the best returns. Listen in.
I think for most people who do on a salary side, the best thing is your PF. PF gives you the best returns compared to all the debt mutual funds. So I'm not suggesting debt mutual fund at all. I've been suggesting that you look at your PF, you look at your debentures that are available in the market, look at even government bonds. They give a better yield at this point in time. State government bonds, you can buy from the RBI window directly. You don't need a broker for that. So multiple options. Debt mutual fund, I would put the last or lazy options. If you're a lazy investor, you go there. So I would suggest to people is either stay away from buying, or if you really need to spend your money, do it the right way, spend it on holidays. Equity is not the place where you're going to be happy in the next year. Only long-term investment I find in this world, and including India, is commodities companies. Because there are few, and who are there are monopolies. So if you were to ask me in equities, only one long-term bet I can still go for, and I'll still keep investing, is the commodity companies, both India and abroad. If the recession in the West comes, the rest of the market will also go down along with it. So I'm saying if you need to invest in this market, and I would sincerely believe the commodities is still the place to be, then commodities has to stay firm or go up. Because yes, recession will put it down, but also what it does, recession, is that it will take away new explorations, new sites, new mines will not be explored any longer. IT is a good for India. It's definitely good for India. The problem is that you have to be clear about what stock you're selling. In India, we basically believe the top two are the only ones to look at. The rest have been laggards. They do perform sporadically, but they're never given consistent return. I would say if you were to put in IT, hold this money for some time, keep watching the US market, and if you get a democratic government again in next year and a half time, you need to exit your IT portfolio because that's disaster. This is what has happened post-Trump in the US. IT companies are now facing the biggest disaster. If next president also becomes Democrat, you run out of the US market if you have not already run out of it. I think for investment, more than just chasing sectors, I think we can have very good stories which we have given good returns and they give you a chance to enter. So look at Yes Bank, look at Ambuja Cement, what happened. Look at Eureka 4, what happened. Look at just now the restructuring story unfolding in Aditya Birla Capital. You saw the re-rating happening. You saw GHCL. So I would certainly suggest that more than just sectors, because sectors needs a lot of knowledge and it needs to be spot on in entry and exit.
Interesting and never the one to pull away from his comments and his candor, Ajay Srivastava. So interesting views coming out there. We'll play you snippets of that through the day. We'll take a short break, come back, get you an exclusive conversation that Ekta had with Naresh Trehan, who's the chairman and MD of Medanta.
Engineering brighter futures with smarter steels. ArcelorMittal, Nippon Steel India. Smarter steels, brighter futures.
वाह, अब आ रहे हो इंस्पेक्शन के लिए? 3 घंटे पहले बोला था कि मैम बस 2 मिनट में पहुंच रहा हूँ। इस कार इंश्योरेंस के चक्कर में पूरा दिन वेस्ट। चलो अभी प्लीज चेक करो।
मैडम मैं प्लम्बर हूँ।
प्लम्बर आया क्या? आने दे।
सर कहाँ हो?
मैडम बस 2 मिनट।
कार इंश्योरेंस चाहिए विदाउट वेटिंग फॉर इंस्पेक्शन? अपलोड फोटो, रिन्यू इंस्टेंटली ऑन फोन पे। टेंशन फ्री इंश्योरेंस।
आग को फैलने से रोकना मुश्किल है पर नामुमकिन नहीं। अब फायरवॉल टेक्नोलॉजी के साथ सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम आग से बचाए।
Got trapped? Do not let commissions and incentives lure you into investing in random schemes. Don't believe in false promises. Be careful. After all, it's your own money.
सोच कर, समझ कर, इन्वेस्ट कर।
Welcome back. Just keep an eye out on a couple of these fertilizer names. Chambal Fertilizer, for instance, is now slipping, and how we've seen these fertilizer stocks buzz around over the last few trading sessions. So maybe some bit of profit taking coming in. Chambal Fertilizer is at the low point of trade. RCF is the other one, which is down by about 3% as well. Remember, these are stocks which have rallied quite hard. In fact, the first couple of weeks of this month itself, it's up almost 12% for you have a 12% up move on RCF, and Chambal Fertilizer as well, despite the losses that we're seeing, is still holding up positive for the month itself. But let's talk about Medanta. Ekta, you met the management recently. What were your key takeaways from there?
Well, my key takeaways was that, they have a great facility in Gurugram, and not to mention that he's actually trying to build world-class hospitals, or, hospitals which have world-class standards. But before we get to Dr. Trehan talking to me at their facility, I just want to point out that Nuvama Research also met with them. So there were a couple of takeaways from the brokerages, which I just want to point out. For example, they also visited their Gurugram hospital. And a couple of key takeaways is that it is uniquely designed with a combined IPT, which is inpatient department as well as outpatient department service. They have a doctor-led model with low attrition at senior levels. They in fact said that, Dr. Trehan's focus, Mangalam, is to have a huge number of doctors who can treat the patient holistically. And they are in fact employed by the hospital, which is different as compared to other hospital chains where they come and go. So that's another important factor. They are improving occupancies to late 60s from the current 60%. They are seeing a return of international patients, and tariff hikes will possibly aid margins going forward. They have around 1,000-bed addition over FY22 to 25, which is planned. In fact, let's listen in to Dr. Trehan, who was in conversation with me around 2 weeks ago at their flagship facility.
We became doctors to treat disease. Then we said we are smarter than that. Why not early detection so they don't get so sick and their outcomes will be better? Then we said, why let people get sick? Then this whole wellness, preventive started, okay? But now we have gone beyond that. Now we are saying predictive health. Medanta is leading the way in that, by the way. That we are saying now there is enough knowledge, enough technology, enough algorithm that we can create today with the help of knowledge and technology to predict to a great degree on some of the diseases like heart disease, like diabetes, even some cancers. So when a person comes to you with, say, a family history of heart disease, now should he live in fear all his life? What are the things we write? Because from our wellness program, from our preventive, but we go beyond that. You can predict with their genetic makeup, their biomolecular makeup now, to say what are your chances. So you can be much more precise than we were before. Diabetes, you can prevent diabetes because we have the knowledge today to say, yes, these are the parameters you need to look at, This is the algorithm for an individual. So what you're saying is personalized medicine. And in that medicine, you can say, look, you have absolutely 25% chance of developing diabetes if you're not careful from today onwards. Now that person stays warned. If I tell the whole world, don't eat sugar, don't eat this, you may get diabetes, nobody's going to listen, and that's what's happening. You think that after all, we have gone blue in the face talking about what are the bad parts about fat, what about meats, what about this, what about that, junk food. You look at the success of junk food companies. It's going through the roof.
So how much is Predictive Healthcare as a percentage of sales, and what do you want it to rise to?
No, this is work in progress in the sense, so that now we built a full wellness center. In the wellness center now we have implanted Predictive. And the algorithms are ready. Some of them are ready, some of them are being made. And this is like it involves several aspects of a person to look at, to say, you need to take everything in. And by the way, I'm a believer in Ayurveda. This is one of those rare hospitals, or few hospitals which has an Ayurveda.
Integrated wellness.
Yeah. So Ayurveda is embedded in this.
In fact, that gives rise to the question about certain companies coming out with ads saying that these are the risks of allopathy or talking against it. What would your view be?
Those are something that this is a free country, so everything is marginal, right? So people say what they want to say with no proof, but nobody can challenge them because that's the law. And that's all bizarre stuff. Now, am I a believer in some things? Yes, there are gems in traditional medicine, like Chinese, like Ayurveda, like others, but they need to be brought in and validated. And now the validation is not there because we are scientists, we don't want to put human life in jeopardy. And unless you standardize everything with the validation, then there's an uneven, it's an individual's knowledge. And that's the dangerous part. In modern medicine, it's been standardized. A student, when they learn certain things, protocols, they will go forward, they will learn the new protocols, they know which medicine will work in which way, what are the side effects, what are the benefits. That is not standardized. This is universalized.
There's this other issue of spurious drugs also, where, for example, there was an incident that took place recently where 5 patients were administered propofol and it resulted in fatalities. There is some issue which is probably taking place in the distribution system. Is that a fear, and how do you prevent such issues?
Always. That's why you got to stick to quality.
But sometimes there could be a slip in the cup when it comes to your distribution system.
No, the distribution system is not the culprit. Okay. No, if along the way people contaminate or they introduce spurious drugs, yes, of course. So we buy straight from the companies. The companies we know are reputed, they have a stake, like we have a stake. So if you see, what does a brand mean to a person? A well-established brand just tells you one thing, that mostly their products will be standardized. Okay? Because their own reputation depends on it. So it's a confidence-building exercise. But if you go ahead and say, let me go see the cheapest thing in the market, and because, I want to either maximize profits or I want to give the patient the relief, if there is no standardization in that manufacturing process, medicines is a very, very tricky product because it depends on your APIs, it depends on your process, it depends on your contamination.
All right, and remember, you can catch this conversation this week on CNBC-TV18 under the special series, The Medicine Box. We've planned a few for you. The snippets go all through the day, the entire show this week. Take a short break, come back on the other side. Manisha Gupta joins in with Atul Ganatra, who's the president of Cotton Association of India. Stay tuned.
देखो 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 नया टीवी देखो ah got the veggies from Chotu's shop. He gives the right rate.
Yes, Papa.
Decided 55-inch TV on this wall.
Oh, super. I'll write out the check tomorrow.
No, you don't. I will with my own money.
Oh, wow. How come?
Look at this advertisement. 30% assured returns on investment. I am also going to invest my money.
So vegetables only from Chotu's shop, but investment advice from anyone? Papa, trusting a stranger's advice is never wise.
But what about the TV?
सोच कर समझ कर इन्वेस्ट कर
Why did life test me? Why did it try to crush me, shake me, break me? Why me? Because it knew if I could take this test, I could take anything and say, that was easy.
Everyone looks at the world today. At Hyundai, we go beyond with experiences that take us forward. Inspired by our today, we design your tomorrow. Some said electric is the future. We said, why stop there? At Hyundai, we are going beyond mobility, and you are welcome to join us.
अरे आप इतनी दूर हमारे लिए?
आपकी मेहनत कहां से कहां पहुंच रही है? मैं आपके एक साइन के लिए यहाँ नहीं आ सकता? हो गया आपका अकाउंट ओपन।
हर बंद राह ओपन हो सकती है, लगता है सिर्फ दिल।
धन्यवाद।
एक्सिस बैंक, दिल से ओपन।
Welcome back. Joining us now on the show is Atul Ganatra. He's President Cotton Association of India. Mr. Ganatra, hi. Welcome to the show. The cotton as an industry clearly hasn't had it easy in 2022. We saw all-time high prices and then a very sharp correction. And now, even as the crop is expected good, the arrivals clearly seem to be absent. One, you've been asking for an import duty cut of 11%, but the government response clearly has been negative on that. What is it that the industry is now having in sense of conversations with the ministers?
Good afternoon, Manisha ji. Due to COVID lockdown 2 years before, CCI was having 150 plus lakh bales cotton stock. To reduce stocks in India, government has put 11% import duty on cotton in the budget of 2021. And it is continued thereafter.
Right.
Now the situation due to this import duty is completely changed. Now we have no stocks. And due to this import duty, Indian cotton prices are keeping higher than world cotton. And due to higher rate of Indian cotton, our spinning mills are not able to compete in exports with the country like China, Bangladesh and Vietnam. Our textile exports are reduced 40%. And Indian spinning mills are running 60 to 70% capacity only. So we are requesting Honorable Finance Minister to give level playing field to us and please remove this 11% import duty from cotton. This will help the textile industry to come on the right path again.
What we heard on the minister replying on the floor of parliament was that the crop does look good and he doesn't see a need to scrap the import duty yet.
Yeah, that is correct. Our crop is good. We have enough stock for our Indian mills to run. But what happened, Manisha ji, the farmers have seen 12,000 to 14,000 rate for kapas for 1 quintal. And since now, see, market has to run on the international level. So our rates have come down of kapas from 8,000, 9,000 rupees. And farmers are seeing that these prices are very low compared to last year. So they are not selling the kapas. And our arrivals are very low compared to last year. By the same time, we are running 30 lakh bales behind the arrival. And due to that, mills are not able to compete the yarn export, cotton export, anything. Our rates are higher. I'll tell you the example. Today, our rate of Gujarat Sankar 29 mm is 64,500 to 65,000, and ICE future is 83 cent, which is 54,000. So it is a clearly huge gap between world rate and Indian cotton rate. So only we see the way for our mills to get a level playing field and they should get a cotton. I don't say we should harm farmers, our farmers, but at least our spinning mills also should get a cotton at international level. Then only they will compete in the world market. Yes, Manisha ji.
Yeah. So, how long do you think that the farmers will be able to hold cotton like this? Because, I mean, as you said, we are 30 lakh bales behind the schedule, what we saw in the previous year there. Farmers also have a limited holding capacity, would you say?
No, what happened, farmers are now also very clever and they are seeing entire world market. They are very active on the social media and they have 3,000 group for the farmers. Every group has 500 WhatsApp members. So around 15 lakh farmers are getting messages, don't sell your kapas now, you will get 12,000, 14,000, 20,000. So they are hesitating to sell the kapas. But you see, every 5 years this happens when the kapas price will go very high. Next year we see cotton sowing will be more and price will fall. This happens. So farmer has to understand this year farmers are not in loss because this year yield is better and they may get 10 to 20% higher yield than last year. So even if rate is reduced by 10-20%, they are having higher yield. They are having same amount of the profit what they got last year. So they have to be very practical and sell the cotton at regular basis. Yes, Manisha ji.
You know, the point that I take, Mr. Ganatra, away from this is the whole technology play in this. I mean, as you said, 3,000 WhatsApp groups, 500 farmers on each group, and they almost are making a cartel, as you said there. How are you looking at the Indian demand right now? I mean, are the prices increasing for textiles from your side as well? Because as you said, one, the capacity is low, two, the raw material is not there, or if it is there, is at a higher price.
Raw material is available, enough available. The arrivals what we are getting 1,20,000 bales a day. Against that, our Indian spinning mills are consuming hardly 80-90,000 bales. So arrivals are there. There is availability is there. Only thing is prices are higher. But slowly our Indian cotton price also has come down. We have already seen 40% correction in Indian prices. So now if another 10% price will reduce, then our spinning mills will run 100%. Definitely, our last month Indian spinning mills were running 40 to 50%. Now they are running 70 to 75%. So there is improvement. Demand also is slowly coming back. We'll see within 1 month if ICE future will go up 10 cents and Indian price will come down by 3,000 to 4,000 rupees. Everything will be all right, and we see Indian spinning mills will run 100% capacity and everything will be all right.
Okay, all right, Manisha. All right, Mr. Ganatra as well as Manisha, thank you very much for joining in and taking us through that conversation. It's a wrap on Halftime Report. We will leave you with the telecom data for the month of October, which is flashing on your screens, and Business Lunch, which will take that as well as all the other market action forward. Stay tuned.